Hi, my name is Jeroen Hopper, author of the Clapham Property blog. Today I'm going to discuss whether you should manage your own property or let your estate agent do the hard work for you. So, right into this video. The first thing you should really be considering is, are you letting by the room, so on a room by room, maybe an HMO or multi-let strategy basis, or whether you're letting the property as a whole, so a vanilla let, single let, however you'd like to call it. Now, depending on which strategy you're using, it's obviously going to take up different amounts of your time. If you're letting out a 3, 4 or 5 bed property all on single tenancies, what you'll often find is that by the time that A wants to move out and you've re-advertised and you've gone through the effort of finding a tenant, vetting them, referencing them, getting them move in, number 2 will want to move out. So it's a constant juggling act of moving people in and out of your property. If it's on a single let basis, you tend to find that they take it for about 6 or 12 months, maybe even longer. Arla, the Association of Residential Letting Agents, do research into average tenancy length, and they say that over the last 5 years, the average tenancy length has only been increasing. It currently stands at nearly 2 years, 20 months is the actual figure. So you'll find that when you do single lets, so you let to one person or maybe a couple or even a group as one tenancy, you tend to get less changeover. So you can see an average tenancy length of about 20 months there, hopefully. So the second point that I'd like to discuss is, how far away do you live from the property? Going hand in hand with what I said before about going back and forth to the property for viewings, the same applies to maintenance and things. So if you're dealing with a 5-bedroom property on a multi-let, that's effectively 5 different tenants that you're communicating with. They tend not to talk to each other too much in repairs, I find. So you find yourself up and down, going up and down to inspect the property, oversee repairs and maintenance with contractors that you get round and so forth. With a single tenancy, again, it's a lot easier to manage, but obviously there will be repairs over time. So again, the time element does apply. If you are living a fair distance away from the property, the travel time can soon add up. So consider that in your decision as to whether to outsource the management to an agent or whether you're going to do it all yourself. Number 3 is, how skilled are you? Now, generally, there's 2 types of landlord. Well, first one that thinks they know what they're doing because they've had a flat for 20 years, they've probably had 10, 15 tenants along the way, and they're probably still using the same tenancy agreement from 20 years ago. That's a problem, obviously, because they're probably not doing the things like right to rent, the how to rent booklet, deposit registration, all that sort of thing. So if any of those things are news to your ears, then get yourself on a training course and learn about those things, because you're missing out. And a lot of the legislation that has come into force means that if you don't do the tenancy startup correctly, i.e. all the right documents, it means that you can't serve Section 21 to then get rid of the tenant if they turn out to be a bad tenant. So coming back to the type of landlord, the other type of landlord which I prefer to deal with is the landlord who reads up on new legislation, possibly even taking a training course or 2 from the NLA or RLA. So if any of that stuff that I just mentioned was news to you, get yourself onto an RLA course and run through the ins and outs of tenancy deposit regulations and so forth. If you're interested in joining the RLA and you want a discount code, feel free to email me and I'll send you one right along. Point number 4, cost. If you're not making any money from your buy-to-let property and you're telling me you can't afford to give it to an agent, well, there's the problem. Really, across your portfolio, there should be an average profit of at least £500 per property. This is London we're talking. Obviously, if you're up in the north, it may vary. But £500 of property to allow for a few voids, a few repairs, a little bit of regular maintenance, all that sort of thing. If you're not allowing for that per property, then you've got a problem. You really need to be reinvesting your funds into property with better cash flow. There's 2 different types of property really, one with a high capital value, i.e. period property, and the one where the capital values are a little bit lower but the rental yields are better. ex-local authority property. Now I'm leaning more on that side of the fence simply because I like cash flow, because cash flow gives you that buffer if anything goes wrong. And also in an economic downturn, what I find that the rental demand for ex-council properties stays fairly stable, because the type of tenant that you're letting to, they aren't so affected employment-wise in an economic downturn. I noticed that especially in the Greenwich Millennium Village, for example. I was in charge of letting loads of flats there, and as soon as Lehman Brothers went bust, well, everyone left. It was a ghost town because half of them worked for Barcap, Lehman Brothers and so forth, and guess what? They were out of a job, so they were out of there. And that's a problem for you if you've got a luxury riverside apartment. So diversify is the key there. So in summary, it's a time versus money exercise. If you live next door, you know what you're doing, and you're happy to show people around, do some tenancy regulatory checkups and things like that, just to make sure that you're doing things right now and again, then go for it, by all means. But for a lot of us, time is money. And if you're earning good money with your job, and you might enjoy that a lot more than being a landlord, then outsource it to an agent, at least the tenancy setup part of it, so the tenant find elements. I find oftentimes that landlords take a bad experience with a contractor and so forth to give away their management to an agent because they just can't be bothered to deal with it anymore. But try and get ahead of that, because letting and management go hand in hand, and being a landlord is a little bit different to being an investor. If you want to be an investor, I suppose you have to scale up in terms of what you are going to do, what you're going to invest. So the amount of money that you're investing into residential property, you're going to have loads of properties. Soon it's going to be too much for you to manage. So think about the future as well. So join me next time for another video. If you enjoyed this video, do like or share it on Facebook or LinkedIn, your platform of choice. So tune in next time for another video with investment tips and tricks for property investors and developers.